Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 80, text number 14 to 17. So I'll recite sloka and translation of 14, 15 and 16, and then 17 will recite together. याचित्वा चातुरो मुष्टिन् विप्रान् पृथुकात् तण्डुलान् शैलखण्डेन तान् बद्ध्वा भर्त्रे प्रादादुपायनम्. Sudama's wife begged four handfuls of flat rice from neighboring brahmanas, tied up the rice in a torn piece of cloth and gave it to her husband as a present for Lord Krishna. Satanadaya vipragrya prayau dvarakam kila Krishna sandarshanam mayam khadam syaditi chintayan. Taking the flat rice, the saintly Brahmana set off for Dwaraka, all the while wondering how will I be able to have Krishna's audience. Among other things, Sudama assumed that the gatekeepers would stop him. त्रीणि गुल्मानि अतीयाय तिस्रा कक्षास् सद्विजः विप्रो अगम यान्दकवृष्णीनां गृहेष्वच्युतधर्मिणाम्. So we'll recite today's sloka also together. Griham dvyasta sahasranam महिषीणां हरेर्द्विजः विवेशैकातमं श्रीमद् ब्रह्मानन्दं गतो यता गृहं द्वस्ता सहस्राणां महिषीणां हरेर्द्विजः विवेशैकातमं श्रीमद् ब्रह्मानन्दं गतो यता गृहं द्वस्ता सहस्राणां महिषीणां हरेर्द्विजः विवेशैकातमं श्रीमद् ब्रह्मानन्दं गतो यता गृहं दस्ता सहस्राणां महिषीणां. सहस्राणां महेशीनां हरिर्द्विजा विवेशैकातमं श्रीमन् ब्रह्मानन्दं. So what word meaning? Trini, three, Gulmani, contingents of guards. Atiyaya, passing. Tisra, three, Kaksha, gateways. Cha, and Sadvijaha, accompanied by Brahmanas. Vipraha, the learned Brahmana. Agamya, impassable. Andhaka Vrishninam, of the Andhakas and Vrishnis. Griheshu, between the houses. Achyuta, Lord Krishna. Dharminam, who follow faithfully. Griham, residence. Dvi, two. Ashta, times 8. Sahasranam, thousands. Mahishinam, of the queens. Hare, of Lord Krishna. Dvijaha, the Brahmana. Vivesha, entered. Ekatamam, one of them. Srimad, opulent. Brahma Anandam, the bliss of impersonal liberation. Gataha, attaining. Yata, as if. Translation and purport. by the divine disciples of His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. Translation: the learned Brahmana, joined by some local Brahmanas, passed 3 guard stations and went through 3 gateways. And then he walked by the homes of Lord Krishna's faithful devotees, the Andhakas and Vrishnis, which ordinarily no one could do. He then entered one of the opulent palaces belonging to Lord Hari's 16,000 queens, and when he did so, he felt as if he were attaining the bliss of liberation. Purport: when the saintly Brahmana entered the precincts of Lord Krishna's palaces and then actually entered one of the palaces, he completely forgot everything else. And thus, his state of mind is compared to that of one who has just achieved the bliss of spiritual liberation. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti quotes from the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, wherein we learn that the Brahmana actually entered the palace of Rukmini. Satu Rukmini Antapura Dwari Kshanam Tushnim Stitaha. He stood for a moment in silence at the doorway of Queen Rukmini's palace. I'll recite Mangalachwaran. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamshta Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Sri Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannataya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vachapati Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, I feel utterly unqualified to sit here, and apart from that, I got a message about Srimad Bhagavatam class today morning itself. So, request devotees to kindly bless me and tolerate me. So, this particular section of the divine exchange of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee, just analyzing it, each and every transcendental emotion, it's so nourishing. The emotion of pure devotee and the reciprocation of Supreme Lord, it's like unbelievable. So Here, Brahmana, Sudama Vipra, very, very high level Brahmana. Like other day, Prince Prabhu was so nicely analyzing the different levels of Brahmana. So he was very, very detached and very advanced Brahmana. And Vaishnava is a pure devotee. So we can see here when Sudama Vipra was approaching the palace, approaching Dwaraka, his thought process, and he's approaching the palace. So this particular sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam comes Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shubdate. So there are different levels of realization of absolute truth. So now Sudama Vipra just about to associate with Supreme Lord Bhagavan. He was just about to meet Supreme Lord. So and he is experiencing the spiritual liberation before uh, meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada mentions Jai Sri Sri Nitai Gauranga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Narsimha Dev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada in one of the lecture he mentions that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is on the Bhagwan level. Chanting holy names is on the Bhagwan level realization. And we see Parampujya Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj mentions that there are four yugas, Satyayuga, Tretayuga, Dwaparyuga and Kali Yuga. In Satyayuga, there is a lot of, they have a lot of strength and faith, and they practice meditation on the Supreme Lord Vishnu within the core of their heart. And in this is like it's very high level of faith, because generally those who do meditation without without much of um, the direct physical uh, service, engaging the um, engaging themselves, like one lands into impersonal state of consciousness. Very easily he lands into impersonal state of consciousness, which we see a lot in nowadays. Whoever gets into meditation, it's very, very far away realization. Forget about um, even forget about realizing and seeing Supreme Lord Vishnu, which in Satya Yuga they used to do for thousands and thousands of years. They uh, like when there is a lot of control of the mind and senses, mind while doing that meditation, they can enter some little state of calmness for some little point of time, and they get carried away by the different powers and things like that. Like I remember, during my childhood, one of there is one person who used to teach us meditation, like in 8th class when I was there, like that. So he was teaching meditation, and he used to really have some something, mystical powers sort of thing. And one of my friend who introduced me to this person, my friend is in 7th class, and he used to practice from 5th class. Like he used to be in touch with this person from 5th class onwards. And he used to do meditation, and he got a lot of realizations also. So some of my friends, they're saying that this person, my friend, who introduced me, he spoke what is going to happen to me in school tomorrow, that I'm going to get beatings from teacher. And really I got beatings from teacher. So something like that he was telling. I mean, my friend. So some little powers and all they get, and they get distracted away to that kind of impersonal, like, that Ishvara Bhav, and, they get attracted to impersonal understandings, and they get swayed away. Really. Of course, eventually he got attracted to impersonal understanding, and of course now he got married also. Like that time he used to talk, big things. But so anyway, Skriteya Dhyayato Vishnu. It is very, it's not an easy thing to practice. Prabhupada directly tells that those who practice meditation now, uh, they just sleep. Prabhupada directly tells. So, and Tretayam Yajuto Makai. And this is much more personal, to offer oblations into um, the Yagnakund, which is considered mouth of Vishnu. It is much more personal. And Dwapare Paricharyayam. In Dwapar Yuga, there is GT worship, which is much more personal. Parampati Bhakti Swami Maharaj says. And Kalau Taddari Kirtanat. And Kirtan is most personal. So chanting the glories of Lord, taking the name of Lord, it is most personal. Uh, so of course, um, all the processes are wonderful, and in Satya Yuga they have a lot of faith and a lot of conviction, and they could uh, practice that meditation, which is at present it is very difficult. Like Kali Yuga itself, it is filled with so much of nirvishesh and shunyavad. It's filled with it, rampant. So only when we associate with the pure devotees can we come to the personal understanding of uh, supremacy of personality of Godhead. We can get that understanding, and by that strength of pure devotees, when we, it is not just Sravanam and hear from one ear and leave it from another ear. It is Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. One has to hold that Shabda Brahman and contemplate that Shabda Brahman and try to apply it, wanting to apply it, how to apply it, think of our day-to-day life, how to apply it, how to have that spiritual outlook of different activities that we do, whether we are walking or whether we are dealing with different aspects in relation to the material world, whatever it is. So the more we have that outlook, the more will relish. We can relish. Will be happy actually. Basically when we follow, and that empowers us. The 22 hours of practice, it empowers us in our 2 hours of chanting. So because we are struggling ourselves, how to bend down in front of acharyas. So when Krishna sees that how we are bending down in front of his pure devotees instructions, then he reveals himself in his holy names. So and then we can experience presence of Krishna. So anyway, the point is, Satya Yuga, you can see it is the most impersonal. uh, I mean, the meditation, it seems like, very impersonal, you know and Treta Yuga, you can feel little bit presence of Krishna, and there is mouth of Lord Krishna. And then Dwapar Yuga, more you can see the personality. And Kali Yuga, because the the condition is so very degraded. In fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 10th sloka, There is elaborate understanding Srila Prabhupada gives why people tend to get into impersonal understanding. They just don't want to accept personality of Godhead because of so many different reasons. Radhesham Prabhu was mentioning one of the, I was hearing one of his Japa talk. So he was mentioning how people want to avoid that supremacy of personality of Godhead because of so many different um, conditionings. One thing is they don't want to accept the authority, and of course that particular ego issue is there a lot. False ego is there a lot in Kali Yuga, and they don't want to accept that there is some person above me, and I have to accept. I have to surrender to him, and I have to accept his supremacy, his instruction. They just cannot take it. It's like psychological theism. It is, and that is a root cause of the um, the material existence. Envy is the root cause of material existence, and it is very high in Kali Yuga, and because of which there is so much of impersonal concept. When a spirit soul uh, very desperately wants to avoid the personality of Godhead, then Krishna, he doesn't want to trouble living entities. Second canto, Lord Vishnu, I mean, second canto, there is one of the translations, Sukadeva Goswami mentions that when the spirit soul comes to self-realization that he is a servant of Krishna within the body of Lord Vishnu, after the annihilation of entire material world, when all the living entities enter into the body of Vishnu, all the gross coverings are completely gone, and the subtle coverings are also completely gone. And for a moment, he comes to realization that I'm a servant of Krishna, I'm servant of Vishnu, and then he becomes so intolerable, and then immediately Lord Vishnu keeps him to sleep. So, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavrita Mudoyam Nabijanati. So, Krishna doesn't reveal to fools who have so much of uh, rebellion, so much of wanting to not accept the authority. So, in Satyaga, you can see there is very high level of faith, very high level of personalism also certainly, and they could practice that meditation, but in Kali Yuga, it is not practical. So, chanting holy names, kirtanam, and I was reading the section of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava, where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur tells about importance of chanting holy names and the mood of chanting holy names, which is the topmost realization. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advyam. Shivaratri is also today only? Okay, today only. So, just 2 days before when I was in Mayapur, I was hearing from Param Pujya Rajanath Swami Maharaj. So Maharaj was mentioning, so just as on the bank of Ganges, um Parikshit Maharaj heard from Sukadeva Goswami, so we are also on the bank of Ganges, the Mayapur, it's very nearer. So we are hearing, we are discussing about Srimad Bhagavatam, and and then Maharaj was telling about that historical sloka of Prahlad Maharaj, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. So first Shravanam, and then comes Kirtanam, and then Maharaj was telling about uh, Kirtanam, the intensity, of course. Like one thing is telling about the pastime. I can also try my in my attempt to repeat that pastime. But the way Maharaj just spoke, I think yes, if some of you might have heard. It's like he lives, that pastime. He's practically, um, he's seeing that pastime and helping us uh, see the pastime. So um, Maharaj was mentioning one of the very important point that in order to do this kirtanam, it is very important that devotees have loving relationships with each other. Like Maharaj was mentioning the pastimes of Panchatattva and Lord's Mahaprakash Lila and Lord's reciprocation with Mukunda, and how when like Mukunda was left out, I mean, sort of, he was been told that he'll be getting mercy after 1 crore births. So then Mukunda became very ecstatic, and all the devotees were very, very concerned that he didn't get mercy before only. And then when Mukunda became very ecstatic and Mahaprabhu was smiling, and all the devotees brought him, and he got the mercy of Supreme Lord. So Maharaj was mentioning that how important it is to relish. To have that Krishna conscious dealing with each other, so that um, uh, we can relish that connection with Supreme Lord and share that connection with Supreme Lord with the whole world. So Maharaj was mentioning that point. So yeah, so Sravanam and Kirtanam, and in relation to that, Maharaj was mentioning the example of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva by Vaishnavanam Eta Shambhu. Of all the Vaishnavas, the topmost Vaishnava is Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, he Maharaj was mentioning that he contains the entire ocean of poison. It was very, very concentrated poison, and he condensed it to palm full of poison. And you can imagine the concentration of what it is in the palm. And then he took it inside, and then there is a Neelakhanta. There's a line that has been formed, which is decoration, which is like an ornament for him. So that sacrifice for Supreme Lord, it actually satisfies and Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking hardships and struggles to please Supreme Lord. It pleases Supreme Lord. Maharaj was mentioning, and Param Pujya Jayapatak Swami Maharaj was mentioning that taking hardships to distribute Srila Prabhupada books, it pleases Krishna. Maharaj was mentioning this particular point. And Maharaj was then mentioning a letter which Srila Prabhupada gave to him. Personally, one of the letter Srila Prabhupada gave to him. Srila Prabhupada wrote to him. So there Maharaj was focusing on that particular point, that it is very good that you are attached to the service. So either we are attached to Krishna's service. If you are not attached to Krishna, then one is attached to Maya. So one should be either attached to Krishna or Maya. And that attachment to Krishna is a sign of advancement in the practice of Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada was mentioning, Param Pujya Jayapatak Swami Maharaj was mentioning that point of Srila Prabhupada's letter. So, and now, Sravanam, when we hear from the great personalities, great souls, and then we actually associate with the qualities of those great personalities, and that actually gives us, it infects us with the Prabhupada mentions that just like a deceased person food item, so remnants, if you take, you will be getting disease, tuberculosis, for example. In a similar way, if you take if you take If you hear from the divine mouth of those who are spiritually infected, then you will also be getting that spiritual infection, which is very much wanted of what the attachment to Krishna. So it is not by our strength that we can develop attachment to Krishna. So one thing is to develop, to have wonderful relationships with the devotees, which will help us get attached to Guru and Krishna. And with that, when we associate with Guru Parampara, and then that will boost our connection with Krishna. And then with that strength, when one chants holy name, one can relish presence of Krishna, that personality of Godhead. Going above all the different layers of Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, he'll go to that Bhagavan level realization of absolute truth. You can feel that um, Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. This holy name is not different from Krishna. So, but if that right concept is not there, right understanding is not there, and if one is lackadaisical in his practice, then lackadaisical, Srila Prabhupada, Lord Krishna tells, Vikata Jwara, there actually, there is talk of false ego also. Even because of false ego, one does one sorts of becomes a little lazy in one's bending down, and that false ego to bend down in front of um bending down in front of devotees, authorities, and bending down in front of that will not empower one to bend down in front of Guru, and certainly one cannot bend down in front of Krishna. And even though he feels like I'm getting some kind of ecstasy, this, that, and all, it is only manor, it is on the mental platform, manor atena sati. So it's like so much on a superficial mental platform. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada says, there are two kinds of realization, sampragnata and asampragnata. The sampragnata realization is a some speculative, imaginative, ecstasy kind of thing. It is not a true ecstasy. So, like while doing kirtan, if one is more of relishing the music, which is actually not the holy name. It is in between holy name. It is not a holy name. So then it is but one thinks that one is relishing kirtan, this, that, and all, but that is not the truth. And we can see once the same person who is doing so much of kirtan, so much of crowd pulling, this, that, and all, like one gets into a different kind of he's not so stable and is did the activities throughout the day, not so Krishna conscious. One can check one's own consciousness, what how it is going. So it is how much one is associating with the holy names, that is most important. In fact, I many times used to hear from one of the, like when I was in initial days, one very senior brahmachari from Radha Parsarthi temple, he was sharing that Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur used to chant in a certain tone, and suddenly he used to change the tune to a very awkward tune, and used to look back how many of them are hearing holy names. How many of them are really attracted to holy names. So so it is not just some music or some you know uh, attractive what do you call mridanga and all that. So you can see here Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, very, very interesting points he mentions in relation to Kirtan. So these are very important points. Little strong it may be, but very important. So he usually stress the need to chant faithfully and offenselessly, quoting Lord Chaitanya's statement, "Iha haita sarva siddhi 𝐂𝐻𝐌𝐌𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓 By this alone, all perfection will come. He advised. Chant the Mahamantra loudly and with attachment. This will drive away inertia, worldly ills, and disturbances. You see, so powerful. Chanting holy names, it's Golokera Premadana, Harinama Sankirtana. In fact, yesterday Gaurang Prabhu was sharing this wanting to serve Krishna. It is such a big treasure. It if one is not careful about that particular treasure, it one will lose it actually. It came suddenly, and it will go away also suddenly. Prabhu was mentioning one is not careful about it. So it's a very, very, very big treasure. It is the greatest treasure. So, of course, here then he tells about the some of the aspects of chanting. To make us wholly devoted to Krishna's name, Sri Gauranga Deva, the combined form of Sri Radha Govinda, came to this world. But if we disregard his teachings and show no interest in Sri Namaseva, we will never attain auspiciousness. Sri Nama Sankirtana is the best sadhana. If other sadhanas help us in Krishna Sankirtana, then they deserve to be called sadhana. Otherwise, they are simply impediments to sadhana. Sri Krishna Nama Sankirtana is the emperor of sadhanas. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells that Taramajya Sarvashrestha Nama Sankirtan. Niraparada Namo Hello Pabe Prematan. Niraparada, very, very, very important. It is the only infallible sadhana capable of bringing us to Siddhi. Srimad Mahaprabhu did not speak of teaching Archana, but in Shikshashtaka he taught Nama Bhajana. Although in Kali Yuga other limbs of bhakti should be performed, they should be accompanied by bhakti denoted by Kirtana. So, the only function of voice is to chant Hari Kirtana, which is non-different and inseparable from simultaneous service to Hari by all the other senses. So there is also one more very important statement. And now here one of the very important point in relation to Hari Kirtana. Kirtana is meant for attracting the audience toward hearing. Some may say that Krishna is immoral or just another historical personality. So what is the use of hearing about him? We prefer to hear about the heroic activities of some ordinary, mundane person, which is Napoleon. To relieve people from such a mentality, Krishna Kirtana is necessary. As deer and snakes can be charmed by music and songs, if Harikatha is presented in the form of songs, then even the minds of materialists will be attracted. Proper Kirtana means to reject dry, unauthorized and adverse Kirtana. An incident in Srila Saraswati Thakura's childhood had much influence his attitude toward Kirtana and music. He was with his father at Bhakti Bhavan when the brothers Dvijendranath and Rabindranath, sons of the famous spiritualist and philosopher Debendranath Tagore, a long-standing dear friend of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, visited in 1881. At that time, Rabindranath, who was barely 20 years old, recited a song about Krishna. Srila Saraswati Thakur later commented that his own strong indifference to hearing music became much reduced after experiencing Rabindranath's very sweet voice and lucid enunciation of each word. He said that in his early childhood, he had heard many traditional kirtaniyas rendering renderings of songs on Krishna Lila, but found their pronunciation unclear and was not impressed by their displays of musicianship in tune, measure, and rhythm. He was interested in the words of songs. A major element of traditional Bengali Kirtana is akharas, added lines that are not part of the main composition but which elucidate or emphasize points in the song. For instance, in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura's Gaura Arati, the well-known akharas are Gaurangera Aratika Shobha, Jaga Jana Mana Loba, and Shankha Baje, Ganta Baje, Madhura 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 Baje. In several of his compositions, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had designated specific akharas to be sung. Although akharas may also be added arbitrarily or extemporaneously by the lead singer, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati did not approve of this, but he recommended that devotees sing only original songs and akharas given by Vaishnava Acharyas. When proficient outside singers would come to a Gaudiya Matha or to one of its public functions desiring to sing, Srila Saraswati Thakur would have them chant Nama Sankirtana, especially the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He did not like that devotional compositions be sung by persons who did not follow regulative principles. He said that Kirtana is meant for Krishna Kirti, glorifying Krishna, not as a recital for general entertainment. So clear. So that recently when I was hearing Param Pujya Bhakti Swami Maharaj, he was saying that it is Kirtan is very important. Morning program is very important. Kirtan is very important. Chanting is very important. So how much are we going in that direction? And then Maharaj was mentioning that I'm not a big fan of Kirtan Mela. So he was saying, and he was saying that like there are some very powerful people doing mridanga, like playing mridanga with all their muscles and all, and there are some uh, sweet singing ladies, and there is electricity, so that is not proper. So Maharaj was mentioning. So once at dawn at the Yogapita, Sri Sitanatha Dasa Mahapatra Bhakti Tirtha, a disciple of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and an accomplished musician, was playing harmonium and sweetly crooning with intricate vocal modulations. Rai Jago, Rai Jago. So this fellow is saying what it means is Radha wake up, Radha wake up. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was informed of this, he stopped the recital with the message. First wake up, wake yourself up. Only after being reestablished in your original spiritual form is it proper to think of waking Srimati Radharani. So it's like thunderbolt, you know. So point is, until one is on a very he is free from sense gratificatory tendencies, unarthas, that is false arthas, false understandings, and he has he went very deep in his surrender by associating with devotees, surrendering to Guru and Krishna. It is not, and then one can understand by which through which one can understand the absolute truth, feel the presence of absolute truth in his holy names. So without doing all this purification of anarthas, false conceptions, one cannot experience the true conceptions, which is absolute truth. And one can with all this music and different kinds of emotional, sentimental, and things and all, one cheats oneself and also the masses. That's all. There is nothing more than that. So persons lacking taste for the holy names or devotional service are attached to melodious tunes and musical performances as entertainment for their senses. We can dispel list restlessness and all other anarthas by loudly and faithfully performing kirtana of the Mahamantra in the association of pure devotees. Pure devotees. Members of the Tala Toka Sampradaya, those interested simply in rhythm and other musical attributes, are utterly entangled in profit, adoration, and distinction. Pure devotees always distance themselves from such pretenders and instead worship the holy name by full absorption in Sankirtana. Bhagavan, who is addressed by his holy names by such faithful devotees, manifests to them his transcendental form, qualities, and pastimes. Love of Krishna develops exclusively in the hearts of those who chant in this way. So this is a most important point. So um, of course in Kirtan Mela there are very exalted personalities chanting. So it's not just some music and some sound and mridanga that we associate with. It is the holy name and utterance of the pure devotees that we need to associate with. And not just in between the holy name, some sound and some you know what do you call, beats and things like that, which generally people get carried away by. So that is not bona fide. So that is, in fact, it is Krishna Itar, to be frank. There is Krishna right there, and just beside there is Krishna Itar, that sound and beats and what are all that. So, so to the extent one is looking for the absolute, the truth instead of asat or the things of this world, the different gross and subtle things of this world. To that extent, one can relish the presence of God in His holy names. We can see Kirtana of um, um, his um, Kirtana of worshipable. I mean, His Holiness Aindra Prabhu. It's like there is so much of um, you know. You see Prabhuji actually, Prabhuji's Kirtana. You see his like more time spending on the holy names, not in between the holy names. If you hear the kirtan clearly, it is more on the holy names, on the holy names. So and it's not an ordinary thing, just like some music or something like that. It's very transcendental emotion that pure devotee has for Supreme Lord. So one can come to this Bhagwan level realization in proportion to the extent one is free from Krishna Itar and want to surrender himself to the absolute truth. So here we can see Sudama Vipra Brahmana who is free from the different and he is a pure devotee. He is free from all the material attachment. He entered the place where many couldn't enter, and he's just about to associate with the supreme personality of Godhead. So now the next the description, the more and more details are going to come up. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।